Picture yourself standing at the edge of a crowded room, where chaos swirls around you like autumn leaves in a violent wind. Voices rise in heated argument, faces flush with indignation, and the very air seems to vibrate with tension. Yet you remain unmoved, not because you are indifferent, but because you have discovered something profound: the difference between responding and reacting, between being a leaf tossed by every emotional gust, and being the oak that bends, but never breaks. This is not a distant dream, but an achievable reality, one that the ancient Stoics understood with crystalline clarity. They knew that true power lies, not in controlling the storm around you, but in mastering the climate within you. In this modern age of constant stimulation and endless provocations, we have forgotten what our ancestors knew by necessity: that emotional mastery is not a luxury, but a survival skill. Every day, we face 1,000 small battles: the colleague who undermines us, the traffic that delays us, the disappointments that accumulate like dust on our hopes. Most of us surrender to these skirmishes, allowing each petty frustration to chip away at our peace until we find ourselves hollowed out, reactive creatures, driven by every wind of circumstance. But there is another way, an ancient path, that leads to something far more valuable than temporary victory in fleeting conflicts: the unshakable sovereignty of a disciplined mind. The Stoics understood that anger is not your birthright, but your burden, not an inevitable response, but a choice you make in the split second between provocation and action. Consider this revolutionary truth: every flash of rage, every moment of consuming frustration, every hour spent rehearsing imaginary arguments, these are not evidence of your passionate nature, but symptoms of an untrained mind. You were not born with a short fuse any more than you were born knowing how to read or drive a car. These reactions are learned patterns, grooved into your neural pathways through years of practice, and like any practice skill, they can be unlearned and replaced with something far more powerful. When Epictetus declared that any person capable of anger is a slave to it, he was not speaking metaphorically. He understood slavery intimately, having worn actual chains before discovering the invisible ones that bind us all. The man who flies into rage at every slight has handed his emotional keys to strangers. The woman who cannot let go of yesterday's insults has become a prisoner of her own memory. But the person who can pause between trigger and response, who can feel the heat rise and choose not to be consumed by it, has achieved something more precious than gold: true freedom. This freedom begins with a fundamental shift in focus, from the futile attempts to control others to the achievable goal of controlling yourself. Marcus Aurelius, wielding the absolute power of an emperor, wrote in his private journal about the limits of that power. He could command legions, reshape laws, and decide the fate of nations, yet he understood that the only territory he could truly govern was the landscape of his own mind. When someone speaks harshly to you, when circumstances refuse to bend to your will, when life delivers its inevitable disappointments, you face a choice that no external force can make for you: will you respond from wisdom or react from wounded pride? Before we continue, I'd love to take a moment to sincerely thank you for being part of this journey toward personal beauty and endless growth. Your support, whether you're watching, subscribing, liking, or sharing, means the world to me. You are amazing, and I'm so grateful to have you here. Now let's back to the video. The cultivation of this inner sovereignty requires the same dedication you would bring to any worthwhile pursuit. You would not expect to play a musical instrument beautifully without daily practice, yet somehow we expect to remain calm in chaos without ever training in tranquility. The Stoics approached emotional discipline like athletes approach physical conditioning, through consistent, deliberate practice in small moments that prepare us for the great tests. When your coffee spills, when your plans change, when someone speaks thoughtlessly, these are not mere inconveniences but opportunities to strengthen the muscles of patience and acceptance. Perhaps most crucially, emotional mastery requires releasing your grip on outcomes beyond your influence. We waste tremendous energy raging against traffic jams as if our frustration could part the cars like Moses parting the sea. We fume over other people's choices as if our indignation could rewrite their decisions. The Stoic learns to ask a simple but revolutionary question: is this worth my energy? If the answer is no, and it usually is, then the wise course is to let it go, not from weakness but from the strength that comes with knowing where to spend your finite emotional resources. Every conflict becomes a gymnasium for the soul, every slight an opportunity to practice the art of non-attachment. When someone seeks to provoke you, they unwittingly offer you a gift, the chance to prove to yourself that your peace does not depend on their approval or their respect. The person who masters this alchemy transforms every potential poisoning into medicine, every attack into training, every challenge into confirmation of their inner strength. This path requires neither suppression nor stoicism in the popular sense of emotional numbness. Rather, it demands the highest form of feeling, the ability to experience emotions fully, while choosing which ones deserve your action. The Stoic feels deeply but responds wisely, understanding that between the lightning of stimulus and the thunder of response lies a sacred space where freedom dwells. The invitation before you is not to become a statue, but to become unshakable, not emotionless but emotionally sovereign. In a world that profits from your reactivity, that feeds on your outrage, that grows stronger from your scattered attention, choosing inner peace becomes the ultimate act of rebellion. Storms in life are inevitable, that's a given. The real question is, will you be carried away by them, or will you remain steady and composed, at their unshakable center? Your transformation begins with the next breath, the next choice, the next moment when you feel that familiar heat rising and decide, perhaps for the first time, not to be ruled by it. This is your invitation to true power, not over others, but over the one person you were always meant to command, yourself. This is your call to arms. Not to fight the world, but to master the one thing you truly control, yourself. The Stoics were not perfect men. They were warriors, emperors, slaves, people who faced betrayal, war, and chaos, yet chose to stand firm. You need not wait for catastrophe to begin. Start today. Train your mind like a blade. Let go of what doesn't serve you. And when the storm comes, as it always does, you will not be swept away. You will be the calm within it. The world will test you. Let it. Every challenge is a chance to prove who you are. Not to them. To yourself. Now rise. The battlefield awaits.